to them.
Niko and Shushu are the founders of the VRium creative team. You've been to many of their amazing worlds in AltSpace VR, VR Chat, and other platforms. They've changed our perspective on virtual world building and reality itself.
Indeed. Now, together and separately, I'm waiting for the slides because you're going to love these pictures as we go through. They have wowed us with virtual experiences. Blown our minds is a better way of saying it. With the, if you change slides, thanks, Dance with Trees, is with the overview effect experience that received honorable mention at the Awareness Film Festival in Los Angeles in 2023, with collaboration with, which I think there's another image in there if you want to advance the slides, with collaboration with Frank White, Tripp, and Jeremy Nickel, and who is our upcoming guest coming up in just next week. Oh my goodness, with the XR News Met Health Edition next week. I love it.
And Urban Tragedy 2050, a virtual voyage in times of cataclysm in VR Chat, takes you to Rotterdam City in 2050 to experience a theatrical-like educational experience last year produced by VM People and Immersive X, designed by Niko and Shushu.
Oops.
Okay, Steph, are you with us?
I thought I was. Wait a moment.
I can do
Something
it.
just went awry. Well, wait a minute.
Okay,
Here.
I got it. I got it. VR Requiem was a theatrical art installation. So this is the Urban Tragedy, and the next slide is the VR Requiem. It was a theatrical art installation with performances by monumental art dolls, the Actroids, as a sensual requiem in VR. It was described as an ode to those of the female persuasion and a poetic study examining the insanity and beauty of love on the VR stage. It was awarded the Best Virtual Reality Short at the Cannes Film Festival and the Discovery Award at the Raindance Immersive Festival.
Well deserved.
Yes, that's for sure. Their Frozen Age time travel experience first launched in AltSpace VR, and it continues to haunt many of us as we travel back through time to experience when the Earth was mostly ice.
Yeah, are you with us, Steph, now?
Yep.
You want to do this one?
They're teleportillium. Teleportillium?
Is that how it's pronounced?
That's
Delta.
correct.
Teleportation device. An AI interactive mind teleportation device simulating near-death experiences in 3 phases of afterlife, ascension, and resurrection, using clinical death reports, ancient myths, and the science of neurological hallucinations. Wow.
You know, there's so many incredible virtual experiences that they've created, but most of you know them from their work in AltSpace VR and VR Chat, especially with Niko's solar system and exoplanet journey, as well as his amazing magic AI art that transcends the limits of traditional galleries.
We've explored their worlds, had them teach workshops for educators in VR, and now they are here to share their thoughts and ideas with us. Please welcome Niko and Shushu.
Niko!
Yay!
Niko and Shushu!
Yay! Yay!
It was a long introduction. It was a long introduction because you all have done so many amazing things. So first off, I want to know from both of you, how did you get started, and then how did you meet?
I think I started a bit earlier than Shushu, like in 2015, 2016, when AltSpace was like really, really young, and I got on with a Gear VR headset. That was my first device, like this device where you actually have to put your smartphone in it, and it overheated like after 15 minutes.
Oh boy.
That was even before the standalone devices like the Oculus Go, where it was extremely primitive. But I started doing VR stuff with like A-Frame in the old times of AltSpace. And over time, I adapted to the changing technology. It was once Microsoft bought it and changed to Unity, I got into world building in Unity. And like in 2019, I started doing these shaders. I think like the person who actually got me into these shaders is, I think he's actually sitting in this audience here right now. He won't say his name, but I think it's him, and I think he started like doing these shaders. And we talked about it in the old Altspace times, right? But I got into it, and I think I learned a lot. Like in the last 6 years now, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say so.
What you do with shaders is just unique. I've never seen shaders used the way you do.
That's true.
It's
Shushu.
It's layering, and it's almost like cinema in and of itself, like using it as a screen. It's really neat.
It's incredible.
It is. Shushu, what about you?
That's true. I agree with every word about Niko's shaders. It's a masterpiece. It's a work of art, and it's incredible technology that transmits into a wonderful magic. So first of all, I'd like to say it's so nice to be here and Engage. We've now engaged for a couple of years already. I'm increasing the stuff, and it's wonderful to see how they develop and exist. And we have some VR platforms in the metaverse, and all of them struggle to exist. And it's just wonderful to see that we keep up as a community, and great.
Yes.
Thanks to you and appreciation, and I adore your program. You do it so well with your laugh and your style. I love it. This is a really great show. So going back to your question, I think I first immersed myself in this technology probably 2020. Was it the time of the COVID? One of the most beautiful period in my life, COVID. I just loved it. It was so good. It was so quiet. Not many people in the street. I had a special card that I was like applying to the swimming club, and I got this. So I got a special permission to go out whenever I want. I just enjoyed it, and I was never bored, and I was super excited about this period. I just loved it. And I got this headset, and I started, I went into VR, and I said, whoa, wait, what is this? I mean, everything I've done as an artist in my life up to this moment is focused on interactive, modern museums, performative exhibitions, theater, cinema, painting. Everything just came in harmony, all those fields of art into VR, and it was Altspace VR, and up to this day I haven't found any community, any place that is similar to the experience we all had in Altspace VR. It was just a wonderful community.
What do you think it made? Yeah, but what made it unique for you?
I think the kind of people that it attracted, it were special people that you could see that these are people who actually appreciate quality content and social learning, and to understand more about this technology, than to create a better networking. In other platforms we feel that all of us are quite isolated, and there you could have a chance to really collaborate. And the event system made it very, very special, because you go in and you see what's going on, all the events, you can easily go there. There's no platform. Engage is actually doing something wonderful with events, and it's a great thing. But what I remember about Altspace, it was the kind of people that was something.
Indeed.
I agree.
So
how did you get to world build? Oh, I'm sorry. But I want to finish. How did you get to world building? You came into, and then how did that experience transform into building?
At that time, I think I had one of the first worlds in Alspace that became very famous. It's called the Love Hotel. You remember the Love Hotel?
I remember the Love Hotel.
It was
It wasn't one
was
of
a
the first, but it
place.
was early on. Yep.
Yeah, it was a place for performing arts and
Mhm.
parties with live DJs, and I think Nico visited there, and our friend Marsha also, and I think Marsha actually connected us because uh, I started working on a theater show that is called Nymphs. Now listen,
Mm-hmm.
this was a play that I wrote, combined of composed of various canonical texts and music pieces, and I was going in the real world 7 years to up to 80 theaters to offer them to do this as a theater director because that's my background, and all of them said it has no chance, it's too serious, nobody will want to watch it. And then in that COVID period, when I got the headset, I went inside, I see out space, I see an empty space, and something at the back of my head tells me, do it.
Voila.
Yeah.
You know,
Love it.
and we
Love it.
and I did just the space, and then Marsha brought Nico there, and when we decided to do it together, and then we did actually one scene, and after just 2 or 3 months, we got the Rain Dance Award from that, and then later the
Nice.
Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it was.
Seth,
Can
you
I
had a
ask,
question?
how did your stagecraft and your experience in architecture influence what was built in what's being still built in VR for you guys?
Nico?
I mean, stage is your thing, right? I mean, my background.
Stagecraft is the you would
all
explain
of it.
stagecraft?
Lighting,
You mean creating the
theatrical
scenery?
nature?
The
Yeah.
Yeah,
theatrical
creating the scene,
experience.
telling the
Yeah.
story. Yeah.
As far as I recall, Nico's background is more related to graphic design and programming,
Yeah.
and I think you can see it in his work, in his shaders. He
Mhm.
actually use the shaders like in Photoshop or After Effects, in cinema. It's a specific kind of art that Nico is doing, and he can just do a great work just out of shaders. It's just incredible how he does it. I was a witness to this process, and I saw how complex it looked like Matrix. It's crazy.
It does.
Yeah.
but you've made a work out of it. I mean, you're getting people employing you to do it for them, and kind of paving the way and pioneering that.
Sometimes. I mean, if you really want to make a living out of VR, you better not do art. But
Not just
yeah,
VR.
that's the truth. That's the truth. But that's another topic.
Keep your
But
day
yeah,
job.
you ask about the theatrical experience. The challenge was to check if it's possible to bring the metaphysical experience from the stage in the theater. Stage is a sacred place. It's something with the actors, with the magic, with the lighting, with the music, with everything. And I come from theater, from opera, and how can you do that in VR? I mean, there is a specific magic, a metaphysical magic when you meet other people, when you watch live the actors, how they sweat, how they play the role. You cannot. There's no chance in the world you can do it. And the challenge was, can you actually bring this metaphysical experience into this digital world? And I think we proved it's possible.
Oh, yes. Very
You have
absolutely.
limitations. You cannot do a show like you can have theater shows now in Europe mainly. Now the trend is to have up to 8 hours of show.
Wow.
You can't make. Yes. The last show I watched was actually 16 hours. So you can't really. Yeah. It's a very long,
It's like the
hyper-realistic
Wagner's The Ring.
psychological process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
it is.
The minimum is 2 hours, and you can't put people in 2 hours in VR. So you have to come up with short stories.
And you've also conquered motion sickness to a certain extent in some of your experiences. Which is something you don't have in theater.
Nico have a good explanation about it. Yeah.
I mean, you usually, like, when we do our experiences, like, I think one good example would be the iceberg, the Ice Age. where we are on the platform and we are on a moving platform going around that iceberg. So what we are doing, we are moving through the world, and basically we are moving the world and not the platform itself. So we are stable on the platform, but we're not rotating it. So all the movement is just in one direction, and you have that whole platform as a reference point all the time. And if you want to rotate, we have a glass window, and the glass window has like a pointer, and through that pointer we can tell people where to rotate. So every rotation is from the people itself. They have full control over it. So they can move their bodies in the real world. They can just rotate on the stick. So it's completely their control, and I think that's like one way to prevent it. Like if we would rotate like the complete world around people, that would there would be a lot of motion sickness. And all the worlds, like we have something like, even in the new Nymphs version we made that's in VRChat right now, we have that whole stage, the whole theater as a reference point. So there is moving stuff in the background. So we're like going into the water, and there's a lot of moving stuff. But because we always have these reference points, like we kind of can prevent it. Same for the Rotterdam sequence where we do the time travel. It's always about like keeping the people stable, having reference points, and then it kind of works. Like even with a lot of animation in the background.
Well, you haven't lost your visitor yet.
No, it is. Well, speaking of the art, good segue, Karen. Thank you. We have up here an image of one of the first worlds that you reiterated over and over and over again and expanded, beginning in Altspace. You want to tell us about the story of the solar system?
The solar system was actually one of my first worlds I did in Altspace. I mean, not like from the old times. I also had like other worlds before, but this was like the first big Unity project I had. And I really wanted to start it extremely simple. So I started doing just the planets. I wanted to do like these simple planets with textures, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and so on. And
we have a series of images you've given us. So let us know when you want to go to the next one as you're talking about it, please.
That's right now. It's like a portal I made for Venus, and you can actually go into that portal and you are standing on Venus. It's just a small bubble, but inside the bubble you can see that complete landscape. It's a special stencil buffer shader that's actually where I'm able to display stuff that you don't see from the outside. It's like a mask that you can like put on different layers, and through that mask you can see something else that you don't see if you don't look through that mask. And we can achieve a lot of effects for that. Yeah.
Right, but I remember that right after news came out that they had recorded audio available of the sounds of the different planets. I came in and you had added the audio from the spaceships. Yeah, I see. I see the thing.
That was what I just had. Like once I heard it somewhere on YouTube, and I thought, oh, this is an interesting concept. Why don't I put it into? Because it's like when you go into this world, like it's always like, especially like the space world, it's always like you don't hear anything, right? I have like this ambient music in the beginning, but I don't want it everywhere. So I place these like soundtracks on, or like tracks on all these different planets, which was a nice feature, I guess. But it was a long progress to get there. Even like the progress to like where the planets actually are in the space. It's not an easy decision. Like if I just put them into one line, it's like really hard to see. So it's like a how it's called, I think it's a Fibonacci curve right now, where I actually put, like I actually had this on the ground and I placed these planets on it, so it kind of looks okay from one position. That was a long process. And I added like the insides of the planets, like all the different layers. That's the Earth here.
The Earth.
Also, like it's also like where I began to learn these shaders, especially for planets. Extremely important. Like you can use standard shaders, but then you are running into limits really, really fast. Especially if you want like to do an atmosphere, like the cloud layers, and you want to have. There's so many details on these planets. If you watch it, like on the dark side, you see the city lights. There's an asteroid impact animation. Can we go to the next one? And you can go into the planets itself and look into these inner layers. That's the asteroid impact. Yeah.
That's the asteroid. The
Whoa.
asteroid's smashing in. Isn't that amazing?
And that's always
Yeah.
and that
that's
was actually
like
perfect
Microsoft
example.
smashed Altspace. Yeah.
And this is actually a really good example why VR is so good for education. I think that's one of the best examples, I think, because every single one that's seeing that animation, and you start up like seeing that asteroid, and there's a number over the asteroid, 10 to 15 kilometers was the size of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs like
Wow.
65 million years ago. And then you have a time travel sequence, and you actually see how the Earth was like in that time. It was similar. You can still recognize it. You can see North America here, the Gulf of Mexico, and South America, and Europe look different. Like everything looks a bit different, but you can see it. But when people look at the asteroid, because it actually scales to the real scale, and it's all about scale in VR, and you see how small it is compared to the Earth, I think like 99% of all the people who see it are actually surprised by it. Because always like when you see it in books, when you see it in videos and documentaries, like anywhere, you get a completely wrong impression how big these asteroids actually are. Like even for a big asteroid, it's the size of a city, so it's actually just a really small stone in that space, and you see it in front of you, and you see it like going into the planet and do that big explosion. People don't really have any clue like how the relations are. And that small stone compared to the Earth is actually making so much damage.
And that's really
Wow.
important as part of telling the story, of having that storyline, because it's, you know, it's one thing to watch it in a video, but when in VR, you get to be a part of the story.
Mhm.
And I love that.
You know, guys.
You participate.
You know, guys.
Mhm.
When we left Altspace VR, after this experience was one of the most famous, the solar system in
it was.
Altspace VR. I
Absolutely.
think
Oh,
it
yeah.
had something like 22,000 visits or something like that.
Yeah.
And when we left Altspace VR, we came into another platform, VR Chat.
VR chat,
was
yeah.
as complete refugees, without nothing. Nobody knew us, nothing.
Mhm.
That's what it felt like.
Today, Niko's famous world in VR chat has over almost I think 8 million visitors.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to 8
of the
million.
most
And even
going to 8
and
million.
even solar system.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And even solar system, and he actually got a portal in the actual home space of VR
Nice,
chat.
of course,
so
nice.
Yeah,
every
the default space.
Well deserved.
It's basically the
Well
first portal you
deserved.
see now. Yeah.
And the
ba-
thing that impressed me, because he actually recreated the solar system in VR chat. Yeah, because once Microsoft shut down Altspace, it was gone. And you know, VR chat is a platform that is mainly a gaming platform, not an educational platform. And you see a lot of kids, you know, going around making some hustle noise, and it's not so nice sometimes to find yourself in a public world. And you see, when he just launched this world, a bunch of kids from all around the world just invaded into this world and just doing so blah 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 and so much noise. And then suddenly when they click on that trigger and this animation start, they became silent.
I love it. I believe
And
it.
that was the moment when we understood that a good
impact.
content can actually has an impact.
It does.
And
Absolutely.
it's a
And
wonderful educational program, this solar system, because think of all those schools, primary schools, or where kids, you know, they study, they learn about the planets, the galaxy, and the solar system. If they could do it in school in VR, they would enjoy it. They would like learn more. It shows all the scales, everything. Just a wonderful educational program. I just wish Niko could bring it into some, you know, educational centers all around the world.
We're
That
working
would
on
be,
it.
and I will probably do it somewhere in the future. But That's true. I mean, it works. I mean, VR chat is the most chaotic virtual playground for children that exists.
It is.
And
Yeah.
if it works,
It is.
and it works in that environment, it will definitely work in a school. So,
Yes,
for sure.
absolutely.
But there's another challenge too. If we could move on to the next slide, because I don't.
Yeah.
How many of you have visited the solar system? Come on. How many of you have been to the solar system at Niko? I think almost all of
Uh-huh.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
Not surprised.
If you haven't, go. It is also huge. And I swear I saw infinity in there. And so taking a group of people is complicated, but you've made it easy by having in-world transports and portals and things to move people around easier. But you have this to scale, right? This is pretty much to scale.
The distances between the planets aren't to scale. If they would be to scale, it would be much bigger. Like you would run for hours and you wouldn't reach a planet. That would be too big.
Right.
But the sizes of the planets are to scale. I think if you do a tour there, like I did a tour with someone from the planetarium in Germany like a few weeks ago. It can take hours. So we had like just half the solar system. We didn't even cover everything. It was 1.5 hours already. So it is big, especially if you have people who actually know about all this stuff. And then we have a tour
they
guide.
all want to talk
I really
about
appreciate it too.
I did tours.
Yeah.
I did tours in Altspace. I'm not doing tours right now, but sometimes there are some people who are doing tours. I had a Japanese group, for example, who did a tour in solar system and exoplanet journey. Exoplanet journey is also like it's a completely different concept, like the approach, but it's also can also be used for education because it has like real backgrounds, and I'm trying to make
We're
it.
going to talk about that in a minute here.
Accurate.
But let's finish looking at these, but then we can get to exoplanet.
Jupiter.
I know the audience also has questions for you too. So let's take a look at these. So the next one, I love this. What are we looking at here?
So that's actually in a layers of the I think it's Earth, and you're looking into the planet. So when you go just with your head, you can just walk into the planet, and then you see the inner layers, which are also like approximately to scale. They're not like 100%, but close enough. As far like as we know in science, right? Like it can always change. Maybe like in the future we have like some new discoveries. That something changes slightly, and I will just adapt
but then you'll change it.
So you have like this, like the outer core, the liquid outer core, and the solid inner core, and you can always explain, talk about magnetic fields that exist. And when you look into Mars and you see it doesn't have an inner core, you can talk about it doesn't have a strong magnetic field, and you can go into that's why it lost most of the atmosphere and water. There's a lot of stuff you can talk about just by looking into a planet.
Wonderful. All right, the next one. What's this?
It's also the inner layers, and that is actually Jupiter, which is interesting because it really doesn't really have a solid surface. It's just gas layers, and when you go deeper, you are like going into this liquid and metallic hydrogen phases, which is like extremely hard to visualize. So of course I have to. Bit of creative freedom there. You can't visualize it because it's a material you couldn't really look through, and it's like extremely hard to visualize. But it looks
and all these layers are in motion, right?
They are all moving. It's probably even more complicated than I showed. It's probably more fluctuating. It's more changing, this like temperature and pressure.
In VR is you get to curate the art. You get to choose what to put in it, and then our imagination fills in the rest.
Yeah, we have to do it. I mean, especially when it comes to the inner layers of a gas giant. This is just extremely
who's been there?
Difficult stuff. Yeah. No one will ever be. I mean, this is like materials, especially like this metallic hydrogen, which is just hypothetical. I mean, we have never seen metallic hydrogen because it's possible under extreme pressure, like from a lot of hydrogen. It's extremely dense and hot material. We wouldn't be able to go there with any technology. So just in VR, we can go into the gas giant and see like what is actually going on in the gas giant. Because many people still think like a gas giant actually has a solid surface. Many people don't know that it's clouds. This is like the inner layers of the sun. So we can also go into the sun. and you see the core inside, which is also interesting to see the scale. Like here you can't see it on the image, but when you go into the sun, you can see like the size of the core, which is approximately the size of Jupiter. People kind of get a feeling how big these things are.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that. It's so intense. When you see this in reality, it's just incredible.
It
And of
is.
course.
This is a view of Saturn from Enceladus. It's a moon that's going around Saturn. You can open these portals on some elements. I have it for Venus, I have it for the moon, I have it for Mars, I have it for Enceladus and Triton, the moon of Neptune. And I'm adding more over time. I want to do Titan, Io, like different moons. And you can actually see how big Saturn would look like from the surface. Like on a picture, you can't really see it very well. But if you're in VR and you actually see the real scale in front of you, also from the moon, planet Earth, it gives a different feeling. The Earth is actually smaller than most people think when you're on the surface. You only see that in VR.
Yeah. Now, I
That's
want to let everybody know
wonderful.
we're gonna run over in
Oh,
time.
this is
My
nice.
apologies, but it's worth it. Come on.
Yes,
it's worth
absolutely.
It. It
Yeah.
is so worth it.
Okay.
Now, what is this?
That's the space exoplanet journey, and there are many scenes. You can go to different exoplanets from the orbit to the surface. This is like a Earth-like planet, and you see it's not like our moon. It's like another moon. I'm filling a lot of gaps in that space, but it's hypothetical planets that could exist that are based on real planets, and like this is a desert scene here, and there are more scenes. We can maybe go to the next.
Yep, let's go to the next one.
You could also see this is a neutron star, which you can also see through the windows. You can also see there's nice hangout place in the center, and you have these big windows, which is also like a design thing. Maybe we can go to the next. Like the design of these big windows. In the beginning when I did it, I had something similar in Altspace, and I had just a platform, and we were flying with this planet landscape. That's what that whole thing is based on. And when I got it into VR chat, I wanted to copy it, but I thought I want to do more, and I wanted to do this UFO style, but when I was in the UFO, on the top, everything was blocked. The view was blocked because you have the saucer shape, and it wasn't good.
Yes.
So I really experimented a lot, and I thought, okay, but what if I just cut these sides here and I make these big windows? And that actually worked really well. I have a big view, and everyone really likes it because it's a really open space, and you can just see everything. Here you can see a volcano on a really hot lava planet.
That's just amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, the next one. Yeah. That is just incredible.
That is Proxima B, which has a special zone called the Terminator zone, which is the when you have a tidally locked planet, and I'm showing how tidally locked planets actually work. So one side of the planet is just facing the sun all the time, and the other side is just eternal night basically. And you have one side, on the side you have a so-called Terminator zone where you have eternal sunset or sunrise basically. It doesn't move, it's just all in one position. And you could actually maybe have liquid water on that life could exist. And this is a scene on that. So you can see this
Isn't that amazing?
nice landscape here. There's no life, but it's really calming, that scene.
That is beautiful.
It is very calming.
And
Niko, one of your signature
another scene,
when you know you're looking at something that Niko's done, you can see that the skybox and anything that's also three-dimensional, an object, is color matched. So you don't see any division between, it doesn't break the reality of it. And it really is so well done. That
I'm using
just in awe.
multiple layers. It's not just the skybox. I'm mixing different layers in these skyboxes. There's a landscape layer, and there's an atmosphere layer, for the overlay that you kind of see the horizon, sun, sometimes clouds. I mean, there's so many layers in it, and it's a really big challenge to optimize it.
It is.
Quest devices will not crash. And it is cutting edge for Quest devices, definitely. So especially
are there very many
devices,
platforms you can't
sometimes
put something like this?
No, I think right now there are not many platforms where I can put it. I think Engage wouldn't be impossible. I think in Engage, like, there is shader support, because I need custom shader support. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
Also, Horizon World at the moment is just impossible. Many platforms are. So right now, VRChat offers most freedom, especially as it's the easiest to implement, but not all the platforms allow it. But maybe over time, more will be allowed. This is like another moon scene, and there's a gas giant in the background. There's like a crystal moon.
So I want to know, Shushu, when he's working on these things, how much input do you have, or just leave him alone and let him go? Oh, you're muted, Shushu.
Shushu.
You're muted. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
There you go.
So the exoplanet and solar system and magic AI are all completely Niko's creations. We do some projects separately, each one of us, and some of them we do together. So these are the 3 projects that Niko is fully responsible to. Sometimes I just come, as a Robert test, just to test some new shaders or tell him just something is missing, but I'm just cleaning there sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's but it's still like sometimes we are going into the space and we can use, especially in the AI gallery, always like when I did it in Altspace, we reused a lot of these shaders I developed because it's an experimental place. I'm just experimenting with shaders, and sometimes we get nice effects. We are reusing it for many things again.
Yeah, the thing that makes Niko's worlds, in my opinion, very, very special is the fact that usually a world builder would say, okay, I have an idea, I want to build a world, right? Whether this person has a concept or not, he will eventually create a world. He can invest 3 days or 3 months, but they will have a world. And in Niko's case, I feel that every project he does is actually a work in progress workshop where the purpose is, to learn and to develop more and more sophisticated shaders, tools. So when you go to Magic AI Gallery, for example, you can actually see his experiments. And it started as a workshop for himself. He just put several examples, and then he opened it, and it became so famous. But he just wanted to make his own workshop, and that's where I go whenever I see there's something new in Magic AI. I just go sneak in, I say, oh, look at all those shaders. And then I say, Niko, these shaders goes to nymphs. It's like I go into a wonderful shop of shaders and say, we need this for this. And that's how we collaborate.
I'll take one of those.
The same for Telepotalium. So Telepotalium is an app we are doing right now. It will be a standalone experience that you will be able to buy from the Unity store. So it will not be in any platform. Maybe we do a promotion world in VRChat with like one scene. I don't know yet. We haven't decided, but it will be like the complete experience will be in the App Store. And I mean, we wouldn't be able to do it like that if I wouldn't have done all these experiments in VRChat and Altspace. It's all that progress that actually got us to that point. Yeah, it's a
everything led up to it.
It's a never-ending training ground. It's never stopping. Like there are so many things we can do with shaders, so many techniques, so many optimizations. It never ends. Never.
Niko,
your experimentation was
keeping a journal of what you're doing.
What?
Karen, what'd you say?
Oh, no, I was just saying that Niko's experimentation benefited us because I remember going over there first in Altspace and everybody was just like blown away by what you had created in there, Niko. And I remember you saying, oh, it's just an experiment. Well, just an experiment was magic to us.
And it's called Magic AI Gallery now, right? I remember like when I did this workshop with the AI Gallery in Altspace, and people actually liked it, and over time it's organically growing. It's still growing. I mean, I redid it in VRChat now. It's you kind of see the similarities, like how the layout of its space is, like going through the entrance and then like into different spaces. It's different, but still the concept is similar, and I kind of repurposed like some shaders into these different areas. So now I have like this panorama bubble scene, natures, and the cat gallery,
And the cat gallery. We
which
love
I
the
also
cat
had in
gallery.
art space. Yeah, so I repurposed the
I would
art,
love.
and yeah.
Well, I want to.
I
I
would
want to
love
open
to
it up.
have. I
Oh,
would
go
love
ahead,
to have
Shushu.
a Nico, and I would love to have a new AI, which is like Nico AI, so that we an AI
Ooh.
based on Nico that will
Oh.
create all the shaders I need.
Oh my gosh.
I
I'd
I
buy
guess
that.
that's kind of like digital slave labor, right?
Yeah,
Indeed.
I'd do that. All right, I want to hear from the audience. So you are all unmuted. You can unmute and shout out or wave your hand up and down. I can call on you, whatever you want to do. Oops.
Whoop.
And
And you're jumping
as
up
I
and
turn
down.
around and yeah, I know. There. Okay.
There you
Sorry.
go.
I got overexcited.
Marsha.
So who has a question for Niko and Shushu?
Guys,
come
you see
on.
so many good people here, some friends
Yeah,
coming.
there's
Thank
wonderful
you.
VR
people.
campus.
Thank you, all of you, for
All
coming
right.
here. We say Wayaki.
Paul is
Hello.
here. Paul is here. Yeah. Hey, Wayaki
Yes,
is here. Come on.
Paul is here, and I wouldn't have missed this for the world.
Mm.
It's fair to say that and Shushu and Nico always knows this. I've always called them aliens because I don't believe they're humans. These
Agreed.
creations that they do, and when they were building the nymph world, I was kind of the adjudicator floating around and seeing them build it was just amazing, seeing them place the world in our space. And Telepotalium to me was one of the most,
Amazing.
profound experience that I had, especially being in that womb with that big, huge fetus floating in the middle of it. And then you go to this quiet, serene lake. It was just to me it was a profound moment to reflect on life and meditate. I took Israel, who was at that time about 3 years old, to the solar system, and we actually went right inside the core of the sun. And I was explaining to him about this boiling, fusion that is happening around us. And for a 3-year-old, I must have been, put a lot of immense pressure on him, because at one point he said, "Daddy, it's getting hot in here." And I realized this kid,
You got the idea.
this kid is really experiencing this. But let me just say this, towards closing, because if I could go on and on for a whole day about this soon, but let me just say this in closing: the overview effect. I saw tears there, and I've been seeing tears there with the people whom we have done, collaborative visits there. And I don't know, because Niko and Shushu, none of you are there when we experience it as a group. You build these beautiful theaters, but you're not there when we experience it. Shushu used to do trips in our space. It was a bi-weekly event that I never used to miss. But I have seen tears been shed in your worlds, because they kind of like pause a moment for human beings to pause and reflect. Like you say, those noisy boys going in that VR chat experience, just for a minute being reminded what it is to be human, and how all this universe have given birth to us, and it just gives us a moment to reflect what it is to be.
Absolutely. Oh, it's
Yes,
wonderful. Thank
I
you.
agree that the overview effect has a unique message, and the fact that we have had the privilege to collaborate with space philosopher Frank Wyatt, and there's his voiceover is there, and it's so touching. But that's what I meant when I said that ever since Allspace, we haven't found yet the home. And that's why I personally don't run events, trips, wall tours in Viaje, because I don't have this special community of people. But you're right, and thank you for your wonderful words. There's why it happens. One of my closest friends in VR, his name is Tom, says, "Shushu, Niko, you just make love to the world through art."
That's
you know,
beautiful.
and that means something. It means that you can feel all the passion that we put in the artwork, and it stays as an energy in that world, and it comes into your heart. And that's the value. We actually specialize in emotional experiences. You have many world builders that can do wonderful worlds, perfect 3D modelers, they do complex things, but we decided to focus on something else, on the emotional experience, that you come into the experience to the world and you go out as a different person. It makes you think. It makes you feel.
Bravo.
You know,
love
one
it.
time, Laurel, on our Sunday World Hop, the cadets, we went over to one of Nico's worlds, and it was an experience. I can't remember the name of it, Nico, but anyway, it was like everybody was just absolutely in awe.
Blown away.
Just
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. You guys, I have to say that
it's truly emotional.
I feel lucky. I feel privileged to have met Nico, because Nico is a wonderful artist, and the kind of collaboration that is something I would suggest to any artist in VR. You see that there's the thing with ego with artists. They all want to, it's only my artwork and so on, but try sometimes to find a partner to collaborate. VR is a great space for this, for networking. You come to do things together. It's a brilliant thing. And you remember Marsha? We talked about Marsha, our friend that actually met us, me and Nico, in VR in that NIMS world. So she's here, Marsha, and I'd like to thank you a lot for getting us to this perfect match.
Amazing, Marsha. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then great instigator. I love it. All right. Rich, did you have a question you want to unmute and ask? Rich, you're muted right now. Want to see you? Check in because you're unmuted.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we have a lot of background noise.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm at my son's game on my mobile phone.
Good
Forgive me.
for you.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
That's what we heard. Okay.
So you know how I'm a fan of Niko and Shushu. I mean, their worlds are so amazing. I mean, especially the time machine world. I just want to know if y'all gonna make any more worlds, because I love time machine type experiences, like going back in time and stuff like that. And I just want to know if y'all can make. I don't want to make this alone, because a lot of background noise. So I just want to know. Please make some more time machine experiences. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
We probably will, right? I mean, like that one world, the iceberg, is not even released yet. We can show it in private right now, in private tours, but it's not a public world. Right now, we are focusing on other experiences like teleportarium, but I mean, I guess we will. And we also have, like, even for the Rotterdam sequence where we go into the future of Rotterdam, we had so many more ideas when we did it.
The time machine you're talking about is the Frozen Age. Actually, is the thing with the icebergs and all that. And that was created as a small sample for some kind of museum. That unfortunately this project didn't happen in reality. But we made it as a sample. But behind this there is a bigger story. There's a whole script that I actually wrote. It's called The Polar Dream. And it's all about a journey. We follow a harp seal, a little harp seal, 3 months old. You know what's a harp seal? Mainly in Canada. These white, beautiful creatures. Sometimes they suffer from slaughterings. The people slaughters them just because they take the fur. And it's such a cute animal, and we follow it. The story is actually that the mother, she leaves them there on the ground, and she swims 1,500 kilometers northward, leaving them on their own. And there's some magic in this universe that after they grow up a little bit, their intuition directs them exactly to the same place where the mother was 1,500 by swimming. And during that journey, they meet the polar bears and many other dangerous stuff. And we actually follow this creature
How
and that's called
wonderful.
the polar dream. And it's an educational thing that it goes to area when you have the sea angel, or you see it on the road, you see a birth of a whale, for example. So it's all those beautiful stories about nature. It's called,
Oh.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the original thing, yeah. And but
Yeah,
and I mean it wasn't even a time travel concept from the
yeah.
beginning, but out of
Yeah.
a time travel, and it was a good thing that we did it in this time travel because that's how the other time travel experience, the urban tragedy, came out. And I think that's definitely something we can also build on. So like, yeah, we want to do Polar Dream, and maybe in the future also more time travel sequences.
The
But
problem
now there's
is,
nothing
just to
planned.
summarize,
Mm.
everything, we have so many ideas, and we have to learn so
Oh.
many new softwares and technologies,
Mm-hmm.
and the problem is that there's not enough hours in a day, only
Mm-hmm.
24 hours. And we wish we could have 100, for example, every day, so it would be more possible. I
You
know
got to
whoever
build your
invented
team.
this.
You got to
Yeah.
get paid more and build a team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's like the paid thing is like the main problem. Nothing else actually pays out a lot. When we got some money
Yeah.
for the Rotterdam thing, but like we never got any money for the Polar Dream, the Ice Age, for example. We spent, I don't know, like how many hours was in total? Like 200,
Oh,
300?
forever.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know,
It's a
the
lot of
the issue.
hours, and we not get 1 cent of it, right? Like we couldn't
Wow.
monetize it because we wanted to make it as a really good sample for the museum,
Mhm.
and the museum didn't really want to do it. I mean, it probably wasn't good enough
The,
for a museum, right? Because
the
there's
We
issue.
many
thought so.
better
I
experience
can't
to museum.
imagine
No,
that.
the
Obviously,
story was that the
yeah.
museum, actually, the project
Oh.
collapsed. The issue is
Yes.
that there
Oh.
is money, there are investors in VR. You can see that many big companies, enterprises, they enter. The issue that we found is that most of them are not able to think outside the box, and they try to imitate
Exactly.
whatever they have in the real world, and just to create the same office, the same house,
Yes.
and they can easily find other modelers. But when you want to do something more artistic,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to find the perfect client for that.
It's
Yeah.
hard to
And
be
one of
Da Vinci and Michelangelo in VR.
Yes, and one of a good example of collaboration, I would say, was of that kind, when a corporative meets an artist, was the Agog house that we created actually in the Archet. Agog is a non-profit foundation that their goal is to create like run events about social justice and a better world and all that, and they actually needed a world that is a branded world in the Archet, and they actually applied to us, and we managed to collaborate. But that's a unique thing when an investor actually search for 2-3 months,
Seeks you
get
out.
to know
Yeah.
VR, get all
Mm-hmm.
the artists, and picks somebody specific.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we would
And
pick you.
Yes,
and there's
absolutely,
also
100%.
You
there's
know
also
we'd love
maybe
you.
we should mention also that platform. There's also
Fi-
Vivers. I think you also had
Yes.
Vivers here before, and they're actually also hiring artists, which is I think a really nice approach how they create content on their platform. They're actually hiring artists to do content on their platform. And the first project we did in Vivers was actually we just released it I think like 1 or 2 months ago, and it's a world with a few shaders because they are not running on Unity. They are running on web based
Play canvas.
platform.
WebXR.
Play
Play
canvas, right?
canvas.
Which is WebXR. So how to do shaders is a bit different, but I mean I kind of like was easy to get into it
Doable.
because the basic code is similar, and we actually open sourced everything. So like all the shaders we did is openly available for everyone to use in their own worlds.
Nice.
Wow.
That's what we did.
It's
It's available. Yeah.
It's just nice to see a new platform, emerging new platform that has its own new strategy to populate their platform, not sitting there and waiting for people to come, but they decided to populate the platform by inviting artists and world builder to create stuff. And sometimes it's a symbolic amount, sometimes it's better, but they give the chance, for people to come, and then
Great.
they also hired now
It's
event managers and stuff like that. So they're developing. So it's something to good to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
It is a
And
really
Engage has their
nice approach.
influencer program too, so their champions
Mhm.
program.
I
And
think it's
so
a really
they're doing
yeah.
Really?
similar.
It
What
is a
kind of
really
program is it?
Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay, nice, nice.
So I think it's a really nice approach. Like all the platforms who are like kind of want to go somewhere, they need developers. Like VRChat has a lot of developers. It's there's monetization now, so that's possible to earn some money. And but because of the complete freedom, people just do it. Vyverse is just hiring artists, which is a really nice approach and really fair approach. Horizonverse is pushing in like millions right now
Yes.
into Horizonverse to attract people. The thing with Horizonverse, like it's extremely limited what you can do, and they're
Yes.
doing these competitions. Like the last competition had like 1 million in total of money that you could earn. Like the first prize, like in each category, was like already 100K. But there's so much competition, like it's not
Yes.
certain that you will get anything. Like you just
Wow.
throw a lot of time into it, and the chance that you will actually earn anything is low. And when I see like the monetization, because you have to get people like 1 hour into your world, and you get like $30 or something, or $25 if
Wow.
you get a person like into your world for 1 hour. So there's a lot of competition getting a lot of users for a long time. But when you actually look at like what's actually successful, like just a few weeks, like I actually saw the most successful world with like hundreds of children, and that was like a spin the bottle game mixed with Russian roulette. Mixed with Russian roulette.
Uh-oh.
So you
Oh,
actually
jeez.
it was spin the bottle, and when you won, like when you actually got like the bottle to you, you got a weapon and you had to shoot the other person or one of the other persons. So it was a mix of Russian roulette and spin the bottle, and that but that was like famous on that platform. He probably
I
earned
know,
like
I bet it was.
a lot of money with that game. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
that's the thing. Like, if you, I also competed like in the competition, and it was like a quiz, and it was like a drawing game. I'm not sure if I will get anything. There was many hours spent into it. I don't know if I will get anything. So
Yeah. That's the chronic.
Yeah.
That's the chronic part of all of this. But we love it. I want to check again. Is any last questions? Because we're really running. We're way over time. I just want to make sure. Is there anybody else has any questions or comments they want to make?
I got one more. I got one more.
Okay.
All right.
Because y'all know how social media is taking over with do y'all have like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, all the social media apps where we can follow you and Shushu? Niko?
Oh,
Yeah, we'll be putting that on our Educators in VR Discord and our social media as soon as the video comes out. We'll be including all that information in there.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, the thing I like about Engage is the fact that you have this session thing. You have the events, and there are regular events. You can see Africa VR here is running really beautiful events with a very deep and noble social goal. You're running the all your events, which are beautiful. One of the best musical DJ events I saw here. Actually, I think I have this avatar from this event. It was called. It was by Fatboy Slim, the DJ. I think it was called, Eat, Sleep, Repeat, or something like that. It was a brilliant
that was
example
amazing.
of
I
DJing
keep
in
asking
VR.
them to repeat it. I keep asking.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, so bravo for Engage for doing all that work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really doing a great job. All right. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Okay. Ladies, did any of you, the rest of you have any questions?
I had one, but Rich stole it from me. I was you beat me to the punch, Rich. I was going to ask Niko and Shushu what they had coming up, but Rich Moore beat me to the punch.
So I think the most important next thing we will release, like as a team, will be Teleportalium. That's my guess.
That's going to be your standalone app, right, Niko?
And that's going to be on Quest.
And that will be most important. Maybe we have like some smaller project before it, but that will be the biggest next project.
Yes.
But
Do you have a time frame for that, Niko?
There is another
Hard
thing
to
to
say.
mention.
Yep.
There's another thing I would mention is the organization, a non-profit foundation run by space philosopher Frank White. It's called Human Space Program, right? Ooh. It's a new educational program about space and science, and they are actually related to NASA. They have in contact
Oh.
with some astronauts, and they actually creating now some kind of a program, a few sessions of education in VR, more about space, especially for the young generation. And we're working on something with them that I
They
think
will.
in about a month or two that they will announce us formally. That's one thing. And the last thing is we're going to put more videos, new edits of some of our walls that we have wonderful documentation of our work created actually by Carlos here, Carlos Austin and his partner
Excellent.
John. And they really do a perfect work as cinematographer, like filmmakers in VR, and we're going to use that material to edit. So,
Ooh.
Oh, wonderful. All right.
Can't
I love it. Now
wait.
you can learn about all of these different things on our Educators in VR Discord and all of our social media things. And Niko and hopefully Shushu with also the joy of the chairs here.
Yeah, they like twisting all the time.
Niko will be coming back soon to talk to our Educators in VR Unity work group on doing some Unity aspects with shaders and things like that coming up, and maybe some particles effects. We'll see we're still negotiating that, but they will be here soon. So get ready, because Niko and Shushu have been a part of Educators in VR, especially Niko, since its beginning, and we are just so honored of the time that they have spent
absolutely.
to not only just really expand the immersive education industry in the worlds and everything like that, but to really push it forward. As Shushu said, really focusing on the artistry and the imagination, because that's where the magic lies in all of this. So we thank you so much for your inspired innovations. Absolutely. And you can find their work on VR Chat, as you heard, a couple on Horizon Worlds and other platforms, Viverse, etc. So do check it out. Also check out their, and I love this name, Vrim,
VRU.
VRU. Okay, that's even beautiful. VRU.
Yeah.
Virium, yeah, it is their website and all their social media channels and everything else. It's been on all of the images and things there, so I want to thank you for that. All right, y'all, we got to close this up, so just stay right where you are. And Karen, you want to start to close us down here?
Sure.
You want to back it up, Stance with Trees? Okay, thank you. All right, Karen.
All right. Let me go to, XR News is produced by Educators in VR and our XR News volunteer team weekly here in Engage XR. We've been bringing you all the news from across the metaverse since 2018, and we keep on rolling.
No kidding. On the first Wednesday of each month is XR News Med Health with our beloved Rachel D. Then our regular XR News followed the next Wednesday with the XR News Innovation Spotlight. Then we are back for the fourth Wednesday of the month with more news you can use.
Wonderful.
Ralph?
Yes, I know. I'm trying to. All right, so that's the slide for what was just talked about. Let's do it. Okay, next week, next week, don't change slides now. Just stay there. Next week, Rachel D returns with the XR News Med Health edition with our special guest, Jeremy Nichols. Love him. Founder of. Oops, could you go back one, please? Founder of Evolve VR, which was purchased by Trip, and he is an amazing pioneer, as we've said, in an innovator in XR technology, and we cannot wait to see what he has going on next and how that's going to all play out. So he just keeps doing all these amazing things.
We will also need more volunteers to support this effort. We're looking for moderators, speaker trainers, news reporters, script writers, slide makers, live streamers, and filmers. Training provided. Come join us and be part of all this fun.
Each of our shows is filmed for YouTube, and we'll soon add live streaming to our Educators in VR YouTube channel, Twitch, Discord, and more.
Now, To keep up with the news from around the metaverse in the meantime, join Educators in VR's Discord, and you will find links to all the news that we highlight here on the show and so much more about the metaverse and immersive education. And we're also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and other social media channels. And to help you stay informed, please find all those links at educatorsinvr.com.
Remember, we could not do this show without you and our Educators in VR partners, sponsors, and supporters, including iLearn, the Reinhardt Foundation, Girls STEAM Institute, Virtual World Society, Cadets Metaverse, Vertex Forum 3D, and Engage XR. And to our volunteer crew, you are amazing. Thank you.
Yay!
Yes.
Yay.
Yes. Special kudos to Stands
Above
with
and
Trees, who is
beyond.
occupying Lance's normal position today in our Educators in VR thing. He stepped in at very, very last minute with like 10 minutes notice because we're having technical issues. And so kudos to Stands with Trees.
Indeed.
Yay, Stands
Thank
with
you.
Trees.
Yes.
We also cannot do this without the generous work of the XR news industry. We credit these sources each week who bring us the news from all around the metaverse and beyond. Thank you.
And again, thank you to our special guests, Niko and Shushu. We love you so much. You absolute pioneers. Your legacy will long be remembered. Thank you. These award-winning innovative world builders and developers, you will find all of their information at educatorsinvr.com, in our video and everything else. We'll have all those links. So thank you so much to share this time with us.
100%. And remember, you guys in the audience, you're the reason we do the XR News Show. Until next time, stand up, stand tough, and in these uncertain times, please, please be safe wherever you are in the world.
Yay. All right.
Bravo.
Stands with Trees.
We did it.
Thank you, guys.
Yay!
Yay!
VR freak.
We are
Look at
now
us,
free.
VR
Yes.
freaks. Hello, great.
Yay!